find it interesting that all communities treat this problem differently and uniquely. Yet it's one same problem. It's a devastating pest that is coming here, destroying all these ash trees, yet everybody I talk to has their own different type of solution to this problem, I should say, communities and towns. Even within towns, just as these subdivisions are, we're finding out different subdivisions are treating the way they're going to handle this problem differently. So I find it pretty interesting that we have one common pest, yet handled so many different ways. And a lot of that has to do with politics. Every community has to deal with their own political structure and money. Everyone's got their own money problem. And then the next difference could be how many ash trees each community has, or in your guys' case, how many ash trees you have in your subdivision. There are some areas in Arlington Heights close to the central part of town that their population could be around 16–20% ash trees, maybe even lower. They're not having meetings like this, yet they're Arlington Heights residents the same as you. You're going to be here because some of these communities, some of these areas or subdivisions can have upwards of 80–90% ash trees. That's concerning and alarming, and that's what causes you to get together like this to do this. The funding part, that's another key component to this. We've found ways in our village to at least find money to replace the trees, and that is a tremendous positive that our elected officials did do. I know it's not as immediate to try to treat your trees. I really like the idea of people taking their own ownership to their own trees, their own communities to do this, and let the funding go towards planting new ones, the ones that do fail, because there's quite a bit that are going to fail regardless of treatment, but especially if you don't treat, or if they're too far gone. There's going to be some. Well, Frank, you've got similar slides. We've seen it. These are all getting passed around now to show the devastation of what this can be. I think we're starting. Most of you are here now because you know about this devastation. You've seen this, and you're hearing about it. When we first started presenting this, we had this presentation for people that knew nothing. So you're way far advanced from them, from the early days of doing this. And the same thing. And then we went into. I'm going to go quickly through. Actually, I'll buzz through this pretty fast. That's another experience I've had. We found these things, these presentations, and these gatherings. The value comes from the questions and things that we start to discuss after this. Everyone that we've gone to, the question part was, could be, well, this. Thanks for keeping it civil, like we suggested, but sometimes they get a little crazy. We're not going to get into this, but this was the earlier days. There were three types of potential types of ways to save these trees, and collectively in the village the elected officials decided with this emamectin benzoate, this triage product, and I'm sure Frank will talk about it, I'm sure he will. Again, there's going to be some redundancy, that's why I'll quickly go through this. But they do offer these other types of ways to save these trees. The village went with this particular one out of learning from research and whatnot for the 2-year coverage, and that's why they offer the 50-50 with that one. So this became obviously the most popular choice. And then again, back to uniqueness, what we did, this People's Choice program, that is something that this town can be pretty proud of. There is not one community, do you know one, Frank, that's doing a People's Choice? I know people are letting people treat their trees, but then offering these rebates is, I think, quite unique.
In the area of Mount Prospect is another village allowing treatment. The rest of the villages really kind of take control of going off the programs.
Right, it is unique and it's pretty good, and hopefully it's getting more people to want to treat. I have to be careful not to be hypocritical. I need some of these ash trees gone. I'm in charge of the urban forest, which there's 36,000 trees. It's too big of a percentage, 36%, or what are we down now, but 35% ash trees. That's wrong. That's an urban forest nightmare. And this is the reason when you get these monocultures that was once created, the problem is already there. When you have these, it is a problem. So back to funding, it's hard to get money to fund a problem. It's already a mistake. So we want to get these numbers in order. So it sounds like, do you want trees removed? And does the forestry department want to remove? Well, not all of them. So if we can find folks like you to treat them, and we get a few thousand people treating these trees, then our ash tree numbers will be more in line with the way our urban forest should be. So some groups come up to me and say, we're going to remove our tree. I said, fine, where you guys at? We'll take those down. Plus there's going to be some trees that aren't viable, and those will come down, aiding in our little solution to that. Of course, the 50-50 cost share is the newest component and thing that we have at Arlington Heights, which also makes it difficult because it's, again, the newness. The village board just implemented this recently. Well, everybody like Northgate, Lori and I have been talking about this and Tom's here too, talking about it for months and months, and they already organized and got people going. They were getting money from people regardless of the 50-50. It's almost a bonus to them. People that participated in their program weren't expecting to get a cent back. They're trying to save their ash tree. It wasn't about the money. So the village, I thought, did a nice thing and rebating this money. There's a little bit of a problem doing it to a large group, which we probably will discuss with some questions. But an individual that calls us, gets Ashley, will get their one receipt from their one house or their one invoice from their one house, and if it's $110, you'll get $50 back. You get 50% up to $50. Pretty straightforward. It's not so straightforward when when a community pitches in a bunch of money and arbitrarily picks a dollar amount from 135 to 150 to whatever your group decides to do. How does the village give that money back? We're in the process of that right now. We've got some solutions. It's not going to make everybody happy. It's almost impossible because it starts with a kind of an unfair thing. Everyone's paying X amount of dollars, $135. They don't even have an ash tree. So how do you give them money back? So there's some complexities with this, and we're working that out as we speak. This is a way to navigate through the web page, which I hope everyone has access to and can get to. Is we're doing our best. We pride ourselves on this. Ashley is on top of this as best as anybody can do, and even taking on all the phone calls from this 50-50 program too, and that reimbursement. But we need input, and the questions and answers. Part of this can even come from this room. If we start feeling some questions, Ashley will note that and will become part of this. And hopefully you can navigate through this, and if you can't, we need to know about it, but I think it rolls pretty smoothly. So if you're going to treat, we need these treatment forms done. Now this is going to be unique. Again, I don't know how you guys are doing this. It's going to be, Frank, you're going to take care of this part?
Yes, I'll address that part.
Yeah, that's what I thought. This is, again, I do the whole urban forest. EV is one component of what I do. One thing that I did do in the early days of this is we tried to get the word out the best we could for years actually, and of course we were accused at the village that we weren't getting it out enough, and that's why there are these non-viable trees. If you had told us earlier, I heard all that, and we tried. It's been on cable access as much as possible. That we've had this thing for years, but it wasn't showing signs, no signs or symptoms, so no one cares. Their tree looked good, so nobody cared about it until they started to finally fail or look like they were failing, and then we came and addressed it. We, the village, came and addressed it, and it made the news. And when it made the news, people say, now you got to start telling us. Now we're finally getting people to start listening that we have a problem here. And even with that, we tried every campaign possible for outreach. Everybody got a pamphlet in their water bill. Everybody get those? You got them on your doors. Did you get those? I know you threw them out like everyone else. I'm sure you did. The only thing that we came up with that was somewhat successful is we decided to run and ribbon the ash trees. And by putting these ribbons around the ash trees, it had a twofold effect. One was just to notify you that you have an ash tree. primary, that's it. It's not diseased, it doesn't have emerald ash borer, it's not slated to come down, just that's an ash tree in front of your house. So you can just care about it or not care about it at that point. The second point that I was trying to make by ribboning these was to have a visual, dramatic look. So if you saw a street with all these ribbons on it, now you can visualize them gone. These will all be removed if they fail. And we at Forestry and Public Works will be challenged to get these trees down in the next 5 years. So we got our hands full and we need people to start treating to help us out there. But people started to see these streets with these ribbons on it and visualized them gone, and the phone started ringing and we got groups like this. So I thought it was a pretty worthwhile campaign. Ashley put all your trees on maps so people were able to identify it. Looks like Peter took advantage of that with that earlier slides. This has been out there, and people take advantage of this, and again, another visual to explain what we're doing. We used to, depends on our workload, we went out and helped some of these communities by putting these bulletins out. Peter, what was your word of mouth or emails? You didn't use a flyer.
Flyers. There's a realtor in the area who distributes a flyer, so I just tucked it in with his distribution.
Okay, good.
So
we
every
provide
door got one.
Yeah, it works. I don't know if it does. I mean, we splattered them on people's doors. The organizations made these flyers up and we put them out there. As we got going into summer, and now we're behind on everything. And once our workload, we got inundated with other work to do, we were unable to help some subdivision, such as Tom, who we were unable to help him put these on. But if you need this type of service from the village, and it's through the winter, if you want to do another campaign next year, catch us earlier in the season, and we will use our staff to help distribute any of your flyers or get this word out. This is again going to get redone here. These are resources that are extremely beneficial. If you get through these things, you'll fully understand them, and we're very proud of the ability to answer these questions through our office. If you haven't already spoke with Ashley, that's who you will be speaking to. As a matter of fact, Ashley, can you stand up? She needs to be recognized. Does a great job with this. Yes, Ashley, appropriate name. Quite an appropriate name. That's who you'll most likely be speaking with when you have questions, or especially when it gets down to how we're going to get paid too. So she's quite involved with that. We were fortunate she came as an intern and did such a phenomenal job that the board recognized her services, and now she's a technician with us and is also instrumental with inventorying trees. We're very, very fortunate. Again, I tried to rip through it as fast as I could. Some of this is going to be redundant, or was redundant, or you've already heard it. If you didn't, you can get it again by hearing some of these questions, and all the information's there. Peter, I don't know if you want to address questions each time.
We'll do it after everybody speaks. Okay.
All right, thank you.